The first mistake that men make in a custody case is thinking that the court cares that you're a good dad. And it makes sense because you think that the judge will see what your friends, your family, the history of you being a father, you think the judge is going to see that. You love your kids, you work hard, you are willing to sacrifice anything. But I'm going to tell you right now, the courtroom doesn't care about that. The courtroom does care about law, procedure, and the way you articulate your evidence. So most fathers walk into this thinking, I'm just going to show them I'm a good father. I'm just going to tell them the truth. I'm going to show them how much I care, how much I've been there, and I'll get fairness. And especially in high conflict with somebody with a personality disorder or false allegations, parental alienation, those are the dads that walk out getting devastated. And see, this is because the system doesn't reward a good dad. If you're just a good dad and you only show that, you're actually speaking the wrong language. What the system actually rewards is preparedness. How you speak its language, how you file things, what you argue, what claims are being made against you, and the specific order and way you argue those things. It's going to look at what fits in the narrow boxes of what determines custody. And if you don't speak that language, you don't just get ignored, you get steamrolled. And especially if you're dealing with somebody who has NPD or BPD, or they're just a toxic person. You could end up in jail, you could end up losing your kids, and you could be one of the many men who suffers some of the worst stories of parental alienation. And so here's what you got to understand in this. If you don't present your case in the language of the courts, you open up the doors to CPS, social workers, guardian ad litems, all defining your parenting. If you don't speak the language of the courts, you open up the doors to judges' bias, a complete business of family law screwing you. If you don't learn how this process works, you open up the doors to attorneys taking advantage of you, misleading you. And worst of all, you open up the doors to not seeing your kids, not being able to be a dad, what so many men share with us about the horrors of the family court system. What you need to understand about so much of this is once those doors are open, they're really hard to shut. Once CPS, GALs, protective orders, massive court fees, biased judges enter into your life, they tend to stay there for a defining time. And they dictate your mental health, your emotional health, your relationship with your kids, your future. They dictate your faith in the American justice system or Australian or England or wherever you're at. And see, that is the cost. That's the cost of being naive to this system. And in this case, that's the cost of just thinking being a good dad is enough to win custody, let alone defend false allegations. Okay, so how do we avoid this? How do we start speaking the language of the courts? How do we start getting ahead in our custody battles as men? I know by now there's been a bunch of guys who've commented on this video saying it's impossible, that the system is rigged and just give up on it. This is not true. 100% it's not true. Whether you have a lawyer or you're going pro se, this is the most important case of your life and this is yours to win or lose right now. I get it, you're gonna have bad days. I get it, you're gonna hear about losses, but every dad I know that wins custody in super high conflict, they have plenty of losses within that big win. So those dads that got custody are going to have a lot of bad days in court. Number one, learn what determines custody in your state and in your county. This is definitely not your feelings. This is not your story. These are going to be statutes which lay that out. You have to learn those back and forth. I don't care if you have a lawyer or you're going pro se, those are yours to learn and learn that language. Number two, start watching family court. If you can't watch it in your state and county, which most states and counties in the United States allow you to watch family court, you can go in and watch your judge. But if you can't do that, don't stop there. Go find out when California courts are in session for family court. You can search under Washington, you can search under Texas and watch Zoom meetings of these court cases happening. That's going to give you some of the best exposure of how to learn those statutes and the language and your case and what's relevant to it. It's always going to be best if you can watch your judge, but if you're not doing those two things, learning the statutes of your state and county and then watching family court sessions, especially your judge if you can, you are walking in blind when you could very easily see. It is just such an advantage. It's going to take a couple hours of your week, and it's going to just save you tens of thousands of dollars in attorneys' fees, looking for attorneys. If it's in your state and county, you're going to see what attorneys are good. Number three, take all of your evidence and break your case down into what the court sees. So what issues are you having? What evidence do you have? What text messages are there? What is the story in that? And then how does that court perceive it? So we always hear things like she had affairs, she's lying, she's a narcissist, she has this track record of these things, her mom says this, and I say that. Here I am with the kids, she's brainwashed the kids. How does the court filter that into a narrative that works? And this is one of the most important things. Like, I get that this is really difficult for you to understand, but if you don't get this and you just go, man, I don't know what Steve's talking about, you're gonna walk into court and make a ton of mistakes and speak the wrong language. So we need to take every single one of those issues. She's lying. How does the court recognize this? How does this affect custody? She told the doctors this. She has a personality disorder. What does the court need to recognize this? How does evidence around that be submitted? Every single thing that you're gossiping about with me or on message boards or within groups or within your friends and family, take all of those things and see if there's a way that the court can recognize that so that it can determine custody and do it in the language of the courts. Don't just wing it. If you just wing it, you're probably going to do it wrong and you're going to piss off the courts and your case is going to get thrown to the wolves. This fourth thing is you need to learn to build evidence, file it properly, and submit it properly. So evidence of text messages or dialogue that's recorded. How does the court need to have this? Does it need to be transcribed in a certain way? If they're text messages from your phone, would they have been better in a family app like Our Family Wizard or Talking Parents? If there's doctor's visits, school visits, buying of clothes, school supplies, and so on, what does your court want to see that as? And the last one is probably the most important. This is your case to win or your case to lose, straight up. Get a support system, learn the laws, understand how to navigate this yourself. There's not just one set way to win, but there is your way that you're gonna have to make yourself. So for real here, guys, don't make the mistakes that so many fathers have made and paid the price of not being able to see their kids. I care that you're a good dad. Your kids care that you're a good dad. But what the court cares about is process and evidence, and you need to learn how to speak it if you are to get them to recognize that you're a good dad. Learn the system, speak its language, and fight for your kids the way the system demands. And if you're still tied up with this, check out this video here. And if you're not on my 30 and 30 high conflict custody, it's free. There's 30 lessons and the link's in the bio. Stay strong, dads.